Hoosier exploring changes to sprint car tires, and we've got details on a recent quiet test. Plus, we'll dive into a big championship weekend and a lot more. Let's go. It's Thursday, October 16th. I'm Justin Fiedler. This is DIRTRACKR Daily presented by Kubota Genuine Parts. Really quick before we get into today's show, are you subscribed yet? If you want the latest dirt racing headlines, race results, and analysis 5 days a week, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You'll get new DIRTRACKR Daily episodes on YouTube, Facebook, and Spotify 5 days a week, plus full audio on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and DIRTRACKR.com. Everything's free, no gimmicks, just dirt racing every single day. We're chasing 50,000 subscribers on YouTube and 60,000 on Facebook, and I would love for you to be a part of the ride. Back in 2023, Hoosier introduced a new version of their sprint car tire, which was adopted by all major racing series and tracks. Teams went from the H sprint car tire to the D tire. If you might remember, that tire rolled out during the early part of the season, World of Outlaws, when they made the trip to Lincoln Speedway. If you don't remember, that D tire brought in a bunch of differences over the previous tire, which included a new tread design that allowed the tire to be used in either direction. That meant you could run it one way, remount it flipped around, and then run it the other direction. I think they were hoping for some cost savings there. And that wasn't possible with the previous H tires. Because of that, the D didn't have camber, which the H did. There were also different compound options before with the H, but the introduction of the D really meant teams only had one single compound, with the 12 available for the left rear and the 15 available for the right rear compound. The other differences were the sidewalls. The lefts had a little bit of a softer sidewall and the rights having a stiffer sidewall. As we watched things play out, it took some drivers a while to figure out how to go fast with the new rubber, and even to this day, this current version of Hoosiers has its detractors in the pit area. Some think it's the reason we've seen some bigger crashes. Others talk about their inconsistency, and I've heard drivers and crew members talk about how this should have been the area of focus and not things like top wing wicker bills. For those hoping for changes, there is some possibility, though, for that for 2026. There have been rumors in recent weeks that Hoosier was looking at changes and even did some testing to try and make some decisions. I'm told that sometime in September, Hoosier held a sprint car tire test at Kokomo Speedway, and I've heard that Brad Sweet and Rico Abreu were two drivers who participated in that test. It sounds like a number of options were tried, but that it was sort of a blind test. The drivers didn't know exactly what tires they were on as they kind of made runs. That's not uncommon for tire testing and something we've seen other manufacturers do in motorsports. I'm thinking right now about watching F1 cars kind of pound around on just black sidewalled Pirellis during tests. We'll see what ends up coming out of these tests and if Hoosier does indeed decide to make changes. I know another big point of emphasis is the cost of tires these days, and with tires up around $350 each, you can certainly understand why. For a national touring team, you're looking at tens of thousands of dollars a year in just rubber alone. Between rising engine costs and tire prices, it's not easy to go sprint car racing these days without a significant budget. This will continue to widen the gap between the big teams and the smaller local and regional teams. And there will no doubt be comments on this video about opening up the tire rules and allowing other manufacturers in, but these days there really aren't other manufacturers outside of Hoosier and American Racer. And I've heard multiple times, even here recently, that American Racer doesn't have the capacity to keep up with a full-scale rollout. And a friend said to me recently, quote, "The problem is no one in this generation remembers how effed up open tires were before." I'll keep you posted if I hear more on this story. Moving on to racing, High Limit wrapped up their midweek season last night at Lucas Oil Speedway. And if I'm Rico Abreu today, I might be buying the Marks Murray Motorsports team a nice steak dinner. Brent Marks got around Aaron Reitzel in lap traffic for the lead and went on to the win, with Reitzel then settling for second. With Rico finishing sixth, that was just enough for Rico to earn the midweek title and $20,000. He did it by just a single point. The KKR 49 and Brad Sweet ended up third in the standings. They were 7 points back, and Tanner Thorson was fourth, 10 points back. Marks and Reitzel were joined on last night's podium by Cy Lynch. Headed next to the Texas Motor Speedway dirt track to end the high limit season, the year-long title fight is razor thin. Rico's team leads the Ridge & Sons 87 team by just 9 points in the owner standings with 2 features left, and Rico's got 28 points on suite for the driver's title. The pressure is going to be on Rico big Friday and Saturday with those two teams chasing. They can certainly afford to take more risks and go full send to try and close the gap to the 24. Drop me a comment, let me know who you are picking for the championship this weekend. One other news item to come out of last night is that High Limit will now sanction the Hockett McMillan Memorial next year at Lucas Oil Speedway. This was previously an ASCS 360 event with War Sprint cars. Then it went 410 with POWRi's Wing Series, and now it'll go High Limit. POWRi will remain involved with the War Series still on the card for 2026, so fans will still get that winged non-wing mix. The dates for this one for next year are September 17th through the 19th, 2026. High Limit released their 2025 schedule last year on November 4th, so we could get their full slate here in the coming weeks if that holds true for this year. At Eldora, the Dirt Track World Championship starts tonight with modifieds and super stocks. Friday is more modifieds plus steel block late models and Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series qualifying and heats. And then Saturday is the steel block feature and will crown the 2025 Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series champion. Bobby Pierce is the defending event winner, and although 3 drivers are still mathematically alive, this is really a 2-horse race between Devin Moran and Ricky Thornton Jr. It's only 15 points between them, but if RTJ sets quick time in his group and wins the race, he gets the title no matter what Moran does. So this thing is still completely up in the air between these 2 drivers. Davenport's not dead yet, but he's going to need a lot of help. If he goes fast time and wins the race, he'd need Moran 17th or worse and RTJ 15th or worse. Not impossible, but those are fairly long odds. Experience and recent success at Eldora makes me think Thornton is probably the favorite, but I think anything is really possible. You'll need a double box High Limit and Lucas on Saturday night to follow both of these tight championship battles. The rest of the Dirt Late Model weekend slate, pretty light. There's a good 604 money on the line at Alltech. There's Fall Clash at Hagerstown, and there's Southern Thunder at Talladega. Other than that, it's mostly just local and regional stuff. Elsewhere in sprint car racing, the World of Outlaws have a 3-show weekend with Lincoln Park, LaSalle, and Angel Park on tap. 3 fun racetracks should provide some good action Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. David Gravel's DNF at Lincoln last weekend means the door is open for just a little bit of championship intrigue with 8 races to go. The gap to Buddy Kofoid is 106, which is not insurmountable by the end at World Finals. It's about 53 feature positions over 8 nights. That means Kofoid has to beat Gravel by a little less than 7 spots on average per night. Is it likely? Yeah, probably not. Is it possible though? Absolutely. Especially if Gravel has more trouble. It's just something to keep an eye on here through the weekend. One side note on that Lincoln Park show, Bernie Stubjen will field a car for Tony Bieber on Friday night, with Bieber announcing it will be his final sprint car start. Bieber is commonly known for his sprint car chassis repair business, which he calls the Bieber Institute of Technical Chassis Healing, or Bitch Slapped. Before an appearance at Fremont a few weeks ago, Bieber hadn't made a sprint car start since 2018. A post from him on social media read in part, quote, "Might as well go out in style and race with the World of Outlaws." Other sprint car action to check out this weekend includes the Trophy Cup at Tulare. We talked about the entry list earlier this week, and Spencer Basin and Anthony Macri making appearances there. Basin will be in the 57W with Paul Silva, Macri driving for Tyner Hurst. USAC's going to be at Dodge City and Route 66. Kyle Cummins already crowned the series champion there. The ASCS is racing, and Lincoln Speedway will conclude their season with a 15,000 win 410 show. And if you're a Northeast Modified fan, the Short Track Super Series South region ends its season this weekend at Hagerstown. Matt Shepard enters with a 25-point lead on Alex Payne for that region championship. That's all for this week. Appreciate you guys tuning in, following along, being a part of the Dirt Tracker community. Hope you guys have a great Thursday and a great weekend out there. We'll see you right back here on Sunday.